Alright, alright, alright. So right now we're starting off with just like a blank app. So yeah, starting off with the basic just from Vercel Vite React app. And we're gonna be taking this, and I did a little bit of just messing around on the side with trying to get like a beginning project. So I'm gonna use that as like a basis to get started. But at a high level, um, let's see. Um, let's see. At a high level, I'm trying to create. Um, actually, can I just add in a? Let's see. All right, I'm just pulling up a little Excalidraw over here. All right, and I'm gonna add that into the scene, where I can simply just swap out which window it's capturing. Excalidraw, and then this should go here. Um, all right, let me just adjust this for the size. All right, so high level, we're trying to make like an. Oh shoot, that's way too small. How do I increase this text size, or just even just zoom in on my own? All right, so we're trying to make an interviewing platform. All right, so what is this going to look like at a high level? We're going to, all right, so we're going to have our front end application, front end hosted on Vercel, and then we're probably going to want to have our backend. So it's going to be our front end. This is going to be like a Vite React app. All right, and then over here, let me shrink myself down a little bit. All right, so we have our front end. We're going to host it on Vercel. It's going to just be a Vite React app, TypeScript, basic on that. Then we're going to have our backend. Now we can have multiple different layers for backend. We could even have it as multiple different services, but the high level things that we care about for our backend for an interviewing platform like this is one, we need to have like auth to auth users in so we know who they are. We're going to want to have, and we're probably just going to use OAuth, right? Just that way, if our, okay, so who are our users actually? Let's talk about that. So our main users, the users for this, we're gonna have two types. We're gonna have developers, probably senior developers, and these are gonna be senior developers that are job seeking. Just to make that clarification, so it's gonna be job seeking developers. Then the other kind of target user is going to be like hiring managers, right? So then the value for developers is, hey, instead of 30 interviews, instead of 30 first round interviews across 30 different companies, come do our one interview, our one in-depth interview. And we want to target senior engineers, and we're going to have our interviews be a little more tailored. to that particular engineer. We want to highlight their skill sets and their advantages and what they are good at to try to highlight that for employers. So come to our one in-depth interview, recorded, one in-depth recorded interview. We will make a highlight reel. We will make a highlight reel, and then we will market you to like the teams that we're working with, to hiring managers. All right. All right, so that's gonna be like the very, very basic of that. All right. So if we're, yeah, so then we're marketing you to the hiring managers. Then from the hiring manager perspective, we're gonna have a shortcut to pre-vetted talent because we're gonna be interviewing them. So you could think of this almost like a where is it? Interviewing platform like TripleByte. TripleByte has a little bit of like some bad connotation, so I don't know if I necessarily want to have that association. But the thought being like that early stage of TripleByte, because the early version of TripleByte people loved, not the oh you take this test without a human, but the you do the interview, and then from that interview we can skip you a stage in your actual interviews. So yeah, so we're gonna have our back end. And I'm just gonna go back end. And we're going to want a couple different kinds of services. We're going to want to have OAuth to be able to do authorizing. We're going to want to be able to connect to our DB, to fetch data. We want to do that through the back end so that that's not easily like followed and can't see where the DB is and stuff like that. So we want that processed by the server and then sent to the DB server. We're going to want, what else do we want? We're probably going to use like some sort of like Jitsi for video. What is it called? I think it's called PostHog. PostHog to let us like track events on the platform. That's just a really nice plugin that like gets rid of like so much work if you want to do like analytics, A/B testing, any of that stuff. What are other things we're going to want? We're going to need like our logging. Logging. This is one of two options. I'm still exploring which one I want to do. I haven't really done either of these, but I'm gonna either want to do like the elk stack, which is like the what's it called? Um Elasticsearch, Kibana, and I'm blanking on the L. So logging is going to be elk stack, or the other option we might do is Loki Grafana. I've heard a lot of great things about people loving Grafana, and Elk Stack is the one that I'm more used to hearing from like earlier on in my career, but that might also mean it's also a bit older, which isn't an issue. Old is good, but the main difference between these, I guess, is that Elk is more costly on how much it takes on the back end. That on the back end, Elk requires because Elk allows you to do the searching for text, that is going to be a little heavier running on the back end. Meanwhile, something like Grafana is going to be a lot lighter, but loses out on some of that where we have to use like tagging and stuff on Grafana, as opposed to being able to just like search the text. So because of this specifically for like Jitsi video, um, Jitsi video is going to require like WebSockets because this is allowing us to like WebSockets, which means no serverless. We can't use the Vercel backend for this. We can still use the front end to host it, to host the actual like web app part of it. But at least the instance of Jitsi that we're running is going to have to be on a non-serverless one. Otherwise, that's just going to get way too expensive, way too fast. All right. So now that we have our interviewing, okay, so we're gonna have our front end. We're gonna have our back end. We need a couple different things. We need OAuth. We need ConnectedDB. We're gonna want to use Jitsi. This is looking like a decent place for us to do a jumping off point from. There's gonna be more back end services and more things that are required, but this is a good starting off point. All right. So now that we have those basics, let's get down to business. All right, so we're starting off with a blank React app. All right, let me just go. All right, so we're starting off with this blank React app, though I did play around a little bit um, on before this just to see if I could make something that was all right, but not hosted on Vercel. So I'm gonna just grab in a chunk of work that I've already done over there and see how nicely it'll just plop on in. So let's see. Um, all right, let's see how nicely. If I just copied and pasted this over, is this going to be all right, or is this going to just instantly yell at me? So, um, where is this? All right, so I have that pulled open. I'm instantly getting yelled at for missing some imports. So let me, uh, let's see, fail to resolve this. All right. Oh, I'm gonna copy over a handful of files that I have that it's relying on. All right. So my little structure over here is I have within my source, um, I have app. So I'm gonna want to create something that's like pages in here. And this is just gonna be where I'm storing every page. And I'm gonna copy over actually, instead of that pages, I'm gonna just copy over the pages that I have in my other little app that I did as my little demo app, my little proof of concept. All right. So here it just adds a dashboard and it adds a login. All right. So then, what does it say is fair? All right. Cannot find module, whatever. All right. So right. Hey, how's it going? Who is that? Oh, Pokemon community game. So if anyone, yeah. So on this channel, I've done a lot of Pokemon gameplay, and then I've also done some, and I'm also starting to do some development stuff. So right now, Pokemon Community Game added on as a plugin. So every now and then, a random Pokemon appears. It's synchronized all throughout Twitch, and so gotta catch them all. If you catch it, it's the same across any streamer that's using the Pokemon Community Game. So right now, actually, maybe I should just make this a display capture instead of a window capture so you can see the Git and stuff too. Where's display capture? Display. Yeah. All right. So now if I make this a display capture instead, and let me shrink this down to this window. All right. So now you should be able to see my Git stuff as well. So right now I'm getting some failures where it's saying like, hey, these packages don't exist, and I'm trying to see if yeah, because I'm definitely missing packages. There's some security vulnerability packages. All right. Let's see. And there's a couple things that I'm still just copying over from my other project, and I want to see just how nicely will it flow. So, if I come back over here, and in my source level, I'm gonna just add in my auth context as well. Which, yeah. All right. All right. So now we're getting yelled at over here for this router. Is it saying none could be found? Make sure I have the appropriate thing installed. So let me go. Um, see, npm install, npm audit fix force. Let's just try that. All right. So now we should be all right. And now if I go npm, well, let's just try npm run dev, and that's going to fail because I'm going to be missing dependencies, right? Are they installed? Which are the ones that it's expecting? React Router DOM and Axios. Okay. npm install Axios, npm install. Hey Nero, how's it going? Yeah, so I'm just doing a small little stream right now where I'm just doing a little bit of programming and messing around with it. So, yeah. Oh no, I see code. Yeah, I'm just doing a little bit of messing around. So I'm trying to start building up a project just as like my own little side project that I'm working on. So yeah, but thanks Nero. Wait, how do I give you a little shout out? Right now, I'm just doing this as a small little, not expecting anyone to stop around. But yeah, thanks. I was doing this as just kind of like me messing around with some stuff. So npm install, and the other one I was looking for was the React router DOM. Hey, Spirit was Weasel. Nero beat his first Balatro run. Nice. He's amped as heck. Yeah, Balatro is phenomenal. It's so easy to get addicted to. So it finally came out on Game Pass. So I've been playing it with a controller as opposed to on mouse and keyboard, which feels really, really weird. But they have it free with the Xbox Cloud Gaming, which I have the Xbox Game Pass, which lets me access it. So I'm here put it in controller inputs to play Velatro, but I'm like, man, I should just spring the $15 to like throw it. Oh, you think it plays better with controller? I just feel like it would feel so natural with like the mouse, just moving it and flinging it out. But yeah, nice. Yeah, the controller doesn't feel bad, but yeah, I would think it feels better with mouse. Um, geez, now I'm getting a little bit tempted to like hop over to Balatro, but I kind of like just started on this little project, and I'm trying to yeah, this is a project that I'm hoping I can build out into like something bigger, but it's high level. It's a interviewing platform for like senior engineers. So, 1 second. Let me go. Do 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 do. All right. So I was doing a little bit of planning out for what I wanted to do, but high level, it's a platform for like senior developers that are seeking jobs. So instead of doing like 30 first round interviews across a bunch of different across 30 different companies, you come and you do like one in-depth interview that's recorded, then we make you a little highlight reel, and then we can market them to the hiring managers, kind of acting like a recruiter. And then it's good for the hiring managers because it's like a shortcut to pre-vetted talent since we've already interviewed and tried to narrow out to like the engineers that are strong. So I was just doing a little bit of thinking on like high level, what are things that I would need to be able to build this, and then yeah, just setting off running at that. Nah, I'm just yeah. I've just been doing I've just been doing this professionally for work for like 5 6 years or so. So right now it sounds impressive, but right now it's a broken thing. Right now there's nothing working. Wait, I'll show you right now. 1 sec. Is this what's being seen? Yeah. So right now I just have this little basic placeholder that you can just click a thing and get the count up, and I'm trying to make improvements onto that. So I'm first just trying to make, hey, you can log in and like log in with Google, log in with GitHub or LinkedIn, and so I had started making a little demo app for myself, just like on the side. And then once I started to like get it working a little bit, I'm like, hey, this could be a cool thing to build on stream. And but when I was building it on the side, I was building it just like in my own little local environment. And so I'm like, well, let me just start off by trying to have it somewhere where it's accessible, where like people could go to the website off rip. And so, yeah, I'm just trying to build out a little thing like that. And I thought that streaming it can be a nice way to have that like accountability to like, hey, if I'm working on this actual project with other people like looking at it and stuff, that might help like motivate and like keep me consistent with it as well, because it's really easy to get started up on like a little side project and then get caught in the trap of just like um instead of actually working on that side project, that you just start get distracted by the next shiny thing. So yeah, so I'm doing this to try to train myself to not stare at the shinies. But yeah, all right, all right. So if I, or I guess I can go over here. So the thing that I was initially doing, if I go to this interviewing platform, I can spin up the back end, um, or npm run dev, and this is just gonna, or is it just npm run? What is it failing? I had two different things. So one of them is run dev, and I don't know what the other one is. I must have busted it somewhere. Cd frontend npm run dev. All right, so that's making my little local host, and then so that'll have my front end running that I can pull up in just a second, and I want to get my back end running as well. Cd coding interviewing platform backend. Geez, now I'm forgetting what command I was using for starting up the backend. Do I have it stored on here somewhere? Maybe, maybe not. Yeah, I would have assumed it was run dev, but let's see. I would have this. Sorry, this is in a separate code base that, yeah, because I started building it out initially on my own on the side over here. So if I'm in, oh no, not drawn higher. Yeah, because right now I'm trying to merge the two together. Um, so how do I start my server JS? Um, start node server. Um, or is it just npm run start actually, right? To start up the server. All right. So now the server is running and the basic version is running. So if I go, this is what I was working on up to this point. So I have this little website that I built out. So I wrote the code for this. It's like, hey, say goodbye to the endless interviews. Welcome to the gauntlet. And then within here, this is really bad. Like, this is just the initial run at it. And then I have the login, which, yeah, I'm fixing this up. But right now, you can say, hey, are you a developer or are you hiring? And then you could log in with Google or with GitHub. And right now in this version, I have it so you can log in with GitHub, but then there's nothing to actually go to once you log in. But when you do log in, um, it does like create a little entry that's like, hey, you logged in with all this info. So yeah, pretty nifty stuff so far. Um, and then yeah, so right now I'm trying to, so I did that on like a very basic version where I'm just trying to see if I could get all the basic parts working together, and I could, and now I'm trying to get it in an actual hosted environment. And so I'm trying to move this over from I'm just creating this on my local host to this is actually hosted in things where I can display it. So I'm using a popular platform called Vercel, which just gives you like a really, really nice, easy way to just get something up and on the internet running for the front end. But for the back end, it's a little more limited, where you don't have like a standing server because it tries to just do what's called server functions. So so it's from this whole mindset of instead of having a standing server that's constantly running, what if we went serverless? Technically, there's little servers in the back end, but we only use them for a little bit. And you run a little function, run a little code, and then when that's done running, then it stops. And so you only have to have access to the server just for a short amount of time. So it can just do just a little bit of code, and then you can have like a very inexpensive server costs. However, for my platform, one of the main things I'm thinking of doing is doing the video call. And if you're doing an actual video call, you have to have that constant connection where you're sending stuff to the server's sending stuff back. And so for that model, it gets super expensive slash doesn't work. So I'm at least gonna have part of this not on that same thing for the back end. But as far as just getting a little thing started up, I'm just trying to get a, the little have some sort of a login or sign up page to start off with. But yeah, that's where I'm at as of now. All right. Yeah, it's going well. And so right now I'm just trying to get the basic that landing page from the front end, and then starting to try to get the off. So yeah. All right. So now I'm back over here. So I was running into an issue where I'm missing some of the imports. So if I come back over here, I don't need this running right now. And I can go back to strong or cd dot dot slash dot dot or cd strong higher. And then in here, I can try npm run dev and just see. All right, so now I can run the localhost for this one, which is the one I'm most recently trying to update. So I'm kind of expecting this to be broken right now. All right, so it's not pretty, but it brought out the content. So some of the stuff that I'm using to do the formatting and stuff hasn't been brought over because I haven't brought over the CSS, which makes sense. So I'm gonna need to import Tailwind, I believe. Hey, and then for the Pokemon community game, a wild Chansey appeared. So if you've done the community game before, you can just do Pokecatch to try to catch it. But more or less, what the community game is just it's just the same across every Twitch streamer. Every stream has one Poke game that goes across all of them, and you can catch Pokemon, battle Pokemon across all the different streams that you watch. So anyone that has this installed, you're able to catch and use those Pokemon, which I think is a fun thing because right now the two main forms of content I've been doing have been Pokemon and software development. So yeah, it's been going well. It's been going pretty well so far. Um, let's see. So over here, I'm looking to update. Um, let's see. So this, where's my index CSS or app CSS rather? This is looking about the same across both. Yep. All right. So then I think the main difference is going to end up being the tailwind stuff. So then if I go, what is this? Index CSS, which is going to be the highest level CSS. I just want to add to that a couple of things. So I'm going to add in these mixins for tailwind components and utilities. And then let's see, what else do I need to do for this? I need to have a tailwind config. So that's going to be where? That is going to be a neighbor of source. So I just go over here, and then I can go tailwind.config.ts, copy that on over. Chansey got away and no one caught it. All right, so now we have our config over here, and it's yelling at us for Tailwind CSS. So that's something we're going to need to import. Npm install -d. Actually, where does that get installed? Is that going to be in app CSS that we take in the config, or in index HTML? Let me just double check our index HTML over here. So we do not link in the style sheet, so let's link in the style sheet. This might just be the one thing that's missing to get this to all come together nicely. All right. And then the import as well. Let's just go npm I, and it's going to yell at us and give us the exact name of the package, or it doesn't. Npm dev run, or run dev. Whoop, just flipping these. Run dev. Copy that. And now if I were to run this, it's still not there. All right, but we can do our home and log in, but it's not pretty yet. And I'm just trying to get my prettiness in there because pretty matters a lot. I'm actually working, there's this guy that I've worked with in the past. He's a designer in the Middle East, and he's a really, really awesome like UX designer to try to make things nice and pretty. And so I'm just starting up the conversations with him. So he's probably gonna put somewhere between like 5 to 15 hours a week in just like trying to do like logos, little icons, and some images and design flows. All right. So Tailwind CSS. Let's just try to do if I did just like npm import npm id Tailwind CSS. All right. Okay, so now it's liking that. And then let's see, is there anything that I need to put into like the app? Or let's just see, where do I put in config? In front end. So right now I'm looking across a different project that I did to see in Tailwind config CSS. Oh, and then in TS config, do I need to add in those references or no? No. Vite config, no. All right, let's just try. We just saw that little error go away. So let's just test that out to see if it starts working. So if we run dev, and then we go back over to our local host. No, we're still not getting it pretty. Any ideas for why this might not be getting the CSS? Let's see. So I would think that this grabs it, and then in our app.tsx, or sorry, in our, let's see, this is main. If it's not, render it. All right, so I'm expecting that this should get our source. All right, so it's in source, right? Source index.css. These are getting little yellow squiggles. So unknown rule tailwind CSS. All right, so let me Google that on the side over here. Unknown rule at tailwind. It's a warning from VS Code, not explicit error. Tailwind should still work regardless. To get rid of the error, I have to use a plugin. All right. All right. Why isn't Tailwind showing? Why isn't Tailwind applying? So make sure I have Tailwind configured JS, Tailwind or TS, with the right paths. So it's saying, hey, index HTML, which is my neighbor, or anything in source. Okay, that should be okay. And then I have the base components utilities. Oh, I have to do the build command. Oops. That might be it. That's probably it. Yep. So I have to do, what is that? What are my commands? Let's see. Where is it? Where it has like run dev fight config? No. It's in one of these configs that it's gonna have like run dev or dang it. Is it like Vite build? How to build Vite. Because I forgot I have to do this initial build once I do Tailwind for the first time or make changes to my Tailwind config. So normally this is something that I do once at the beginning of the project, and then I don't have to do it for quite some time unless I'm making changes to it. So this is just Vite build. All right. So if I go Vite build, or is it npm build? Unknown. Oh, npm run build. It's finding errors. All right. Navbar is red, but never. If I just wanted to ignore errors for now, Vite build ignore errors. Let's see. This is going to be. Where does it have my build command on here? TSC, and then I'm just gonna want this to be silent. So it's gonna not yell at me for anything that's just a TypeScript error, because it'll, let's see, if I do that, wait, TSC silent is not recognized, is it? Oops, TSC, cause that's doing the build and then Vite build. So then what if, and this doesn't recognize Vite if I do it directly, like version. No, it doesn't have the commands for Vite. npm I global Vite, and then this should add Vite, right? So now if I go like vite -- version, does it recognize it? Yeah. So now if I did like tsc silent and the project is I'm just trying to get a roundabout way to make it not yell at me. For like things that it's like, yeah, this is something I should update and change, but I don't want to address it right now. You know, the heart of all good software development. I'll get to that later. Dang. So if I did tsc, what if I just, dang, okay. So if let's just, I don't know, is it faster for me to just run build, address those issues? Because it's going to be what? It's not used. Alright, so then let's not take React in for not using that. Alright, what else? Let's just find all the import React comma. Yep, because it's not using React directly, just using these things from React. Alright, so that should be 2 of them, the use effect. And const user. Pretty much, I just want to see, hey, if this loads up and is pretty, then I'm going to be like success for tonight, and then call it. So it's saying this const user is going to be my use auth. What if I explicitly say that it's just any? And then this use effect is going to let's see, argument of type, this is not assignable to parameter of type effect callback. Let's see. Type promise void is not assignable to type void deconstructor. I do not know what that is saying. Is there a way to turn off the strict mode? Or I guess, if I go to wherever it is, I can just probably just comment this out. Actually, can I comment it out this way? Yeah. Let's just turn off the strict mode for now and say we're not using it. And will that let me build if I just say no strict mode? Not quite. Yep, I'm just trying to find my way around this to let it do this initial build, because I just want to see, will it allow it to be pretty? So is this only yelling at me because it's implicitly? Alright. So does that mean if I explicitly and say, no, this is supposed to be any, then that's okay. Okay, this navbar is not used anywhere else, so where am I doing the little nav instead, actually? Where am I doing my login? Where am I calling it? Okay, and here I have my div router. And I'm just going to the different routes. I might be able to use that with this navbar, because this navbar looks like it's already prettily designed. But for now, I'm just going to comment it out, because I don't need it and it's causing me errors. I probably should just delete it, and if I need it later, I can grab it back. But binding element children implicitly has this type, so if the problem is implicitly having it, what if I explicitly say this can be anything? Children is type any. which that is not what it wants to see, but yeah, it's not assignable to type null. Um, Hey, Alexander6, thanks for raiding in with a party of 12? Geez, is this a real human? Hey, Alexander12, I'm just a little skeptical if this is a real person or not, but yeah, thank you for coming in. Raid night, woo! Hey, thanks for stopping by, yeah. I'm just like, oh, I hope this isn't just like some bot raid, because, yeah, you're very real, lol. Yeah, wait, where is he? Alexander6, so I'm gonna shout out because I'm like, oh, because like what? Because I have a list of things that I need to do, and one of those things is set up my Seri bot just in case. But yeah, shout out Alexander6. Thanks for the raid. Yeah, I'm having a really great time. So right now, wait 1 second. Yeah, so giving that shout out to Alexander6. Oh, and thanks for the follows. Thanks for the follows. I appreciate it. Do do do. 1 second. My Twitch is a little bit behind on being able to see. Yeah, Road to Affiliate. Yeah. So I should be just about there in just like a day or two. Yeah. Um. So I should be there right. Oh, yeah. Alexander. Wait, Alexander, are you on your Road to Affiliate as well? Yeah. Let's go. Yeah, I'm just a couple days away. So I'm excited. Right now, I just hit the point where everything. Oh, you already are? Nice. I'm at the point where everything to hit affiliate is just within my control. When I was streaming, I started streaming in January, and during February, there was a couple of weeks that were just really rough for me between work. Um, that made it like super tough to um super tough to be able to stream consistently. So I have a gap where I didn't stream for like enough days, but I've been getting the concurrent views and I have the hours. So thanks so much. And Alexander6 and Zool, I'm assuming that's pronounced Zool with the X. Thanks so much for those follows. That yeah, I'm having a great time streaming. So right now, high level, what I'm trying to work on is I am creating like an interviewing platform for software engineers. So if I hop on over to my Excalidraw, wherever that is. So high level, I'm building this as a platform for developers, specifically targeting like senior developers. Um, but yeah, 1 second. Um, Yeah, that's how I pronounce it. Thanks. Yeah, you're already affiliate. Yeah, that's such a nice place to be. Also, holy crap, you only started in Yeah, just started in January, and I'm on the road to affiliate. Yeah, it's been really well. I've gotten a lot of support, and I've been doing a mix of doing mainly Pokemon Rogue as the main game I've been playing, and then I've been doing some development stuff on the side. So this is actually my first like full-on development stream. I did a little test stream, but this is going to be like my first like full-on development stream. So right now, I'm working on my own little project where I'm trying to build a platform. It's an interviewing platform, kind of like TripleByte for software engineers. So there's kind of two sides of the market we're trying to address. One is the developers, specifically targeting like senior developers that are seeking jobs. Just like right now, the job market is kind of rough, and so people are like willing to try new things. And so my thought on this is, hey, when you're applying and interviewing for jobs, you have to do like 30 first round interviews in 30 different companies if you're even getting interviews, right? And that can be a pain. Like that is rough. I've been through that interview circuit before. I'm very happy that I'm not in that position now where I need to be interviewing. I have a job right now, and then yeah, I'm hoping to be able to build up this into something that's sustainable on its own without needing to be working that job. But instead of doing like 30 first round interviews, you can just do one interview and it'll be recorded and we'll make a highlight reel for you. And then we can be pitching you to hiring managers if you're an engineer. On the hiring manager side, we've pre-vetted this talent. We've already done a technical interview. We are assuring you that they're good, and we want to build up that authority that like, hey, we know how to actually test senior engineers to see what's going on. So right now, um, I'm working on just getting this basic front end on Vercel, and my goal is to just be able to have for tonight to have a basic login flow where you can where we can have our app hosted on Vercel and we can use OAuth. So I've already set up a little test demo app on the side that's just everything on localhost. But now I'm trying to see if I can have a hosted version. Um, for a couple of things that I'm looking to do, one of them in particular, if we're doing this as an interviewing platform, I'm thinking of wanting to have like my own server that is doing the interviews from, where we can do the calls through that. And so Jitsi Video is a really cool open source tool that lets you do like a Zoom like or Google Meet like call, and it's completely open source. You can run on your own servers. It's super cool. It's a great project. And so, but one thing is that if I'm running this on my own, they have a hosted version. Oh yeah, you know of Jitsi? Yeah, they have the hosted version, but if I want to host it myself, it's gonna have to be serverless, which means I can't run it on the Vercel backend. Just because the Vercel backend is a serverless backend, and so everything is trying to be like in quick little calls back and forth, back and forth. But that doesn't really work on like a video call where you need to have like these web sockets where you're doing longer form communication back and forth to the server. And so if you're on a serverless platform, even just having like a connection open for 30 seconds gets really expensive or automatically shut down. So at the very least, I'm gonna have to look at some other hosting solutions for the back end. Right now, my immediate thoughts are Heroku, which I've used before, or playing around with Railway, which is a new one that I might want to look into. But just for tonight, I'm just trying to get a janky little front end and OAuth working. Yeah, $5 VPS. Yeah, exactly. A $5 VPS. Yeah, and then I've heard good things about Railway, so I was thinking of maybe playing around with that. But yeah, those are kind of the kinds of things that I'm thinking about for this. Yeah, but as of right now, I'm just trying to uh, get my tailwind to work because that was being a little bit frustrating for me. Uh, and I think that right now I'm just addressing a couple of issues that I was running into where it's being the typing for TypeScript is being strict and saying like, hey, I can't have any. And I thought that the only place I would need to address it to turn off the strictness would be in my getting rid of my strict mode here. But it's still enforcing some strictness, and I'm not exactly sure why. But I'm like, you know what? If these errors are things where it's like saying, oh, this is implicitly any, let me just explicitly say any. Oh, you know what? TS config. You're probably right. Let's see, does this have yeah, let's just so that's for linting, but will that also catch it here? That's a very good call out. So for my day, okay. Yeah, you're struggling with styles in your stream earlier. Glad to see you aren't the only stream having that problem. Yeah, styling, it's just like, okay, um, I've worked in a couple different styling systems. So just like for my background, in the past, I've done some consulting gigs where I've had to jump into different backgrounds. So I've done like Bootstrap, I've done Material UI, and I actually, for a period of time, for about 1 year, I was consulting for Facebook. And so they recently released their like X styles, like uh, their new thing for that. But that is something that I was actually part of the first team internal to Facebook that wasn't on the design team that started to implement that in some of our like internal tooling, like our like creating dashboards and stuff. So that was a really cool experience. But like I saw what's his name, Theo T whatever, yeah, Theo. He's another big streamer YouTuber guy that does a lot of like Node stuff. Um, no implicit any compiler options. Is that something that I have set, or is that something to add? Oh, so that'd be like in here. But yeah, so it's been a bit since um no implicit any. Oh yeah, it's under compiler options. Oops. All right, so let me just group these in. Modules. No implicit any. Is this true? I'm guessing something like that. Um. All right. I'm so currently I'm full time at Microsoft for my day job, and so I'm using a lot of just like C# and mainly back end code for that. And so for my day job, I've been kind of boxed in a little bit where I'm doing the same kind of stuff. Oh, sorry, you're still looking at Exceladra? Oops. Okay, so I've been messing around with my configs and stuff. That's just me on my Windows. Yeah. All right, so I was just updating my updating this to see if this will address those issues. Thanks for letting me know that. All right. So will this let me run the build now? Still a couple of errors. Do you have to turn this from no implicit any true? And I turned strict to false, or let's turn it true for linting. But then this should be no implicit any false. Actually, I just keep this false just for consistency's sake. So, because some of these things I'm not exactly sure all of the impact that it's having on it. Just because as far as working in TS for my day-to-day, yeah, I haven't been working in TS for my day-to-day for like close to 3-4 years at this point. So I'm just getting a little bit back into it. So I was doing a little bit of a demo project for this. But yeah. You're also looking at Excel draw. Not the best practice. I'd rather add explicit any myself. Yeah. Set to false with explicit. That way you can always go back and assign the interfaces. Oh, very cool. You're at Zillow right now. Yeah, so down the road in Seattle. Yeah. So I'm actually lucky enough that I can be fully remote. So, yeah. Any reasons you're not in WSL? Not in particular. I do have so yeah, there's not any particular reasons why I'm not in WSL. In my what's it called? In my Git bash, I have access to like bit style commands. So there's not a particular reason besides yeah, when I set up this computer, I just kind of did it because this is a computer build that I made, and I just kind of set up all the basic parts of it and just had it running. So this computer that I'm even doing this on is yeah, kind of new. Sweet, yeah. You're fully remote as well, and honestly, it's the greatest. Yeah, I'm loving the remote life. Hey, yeah. So we got rated by Alexander6. So Alexander, are you mainly doing coding streams for your kinds of streams as well, or is that like your bread and butter? All right. So we have 3 errors over here. Yeah, you're 100% software dev. Nice. So I've been mainly gaming up to this point and starting to bring in some software dev stuff. All right, so we need children. Sorry. So, whoop. Children, any. Dan, I thought I was gonna grab it. Or do you have a space in it? All right, so it's yelling at this because it's declared but never read. Cause what do I need this for? Because I'm using this in my auth context. Provider. You can keep it by oh, yep. Thank you. Yeah, to mark it as unused. All right. Well, if I do that underscore there, we'll see if that fixes it when we're at the build. Does that remove that error? Oh, then we'd also have to update, sorry, all the references to it as well, but it's still giving me any is declared but value is never used. What if I just, okay, so I just need to not give it a type and just say, hey, it's unused instead of saying type any and unused. So that gets rid of the children errors, right? And now it's just going to be the promise void on the use effect. All right. This is in dashboard TSX, which to be honest, dashboard TSX isn't even needed right now. It's literally just a blank page that I'm messing around with. Like, I don't need this page actually. I can even just have this page be return the redirecting. I don't even need the use effect here. Because right now I'm not at a point where this matters for what I'm doing. So I'm just going to comment out this error. The classic, I'll come back to this. All right, so now if I do that, because I shouldn't need that for what I'm doing. Oh, because it's going to yell at me that I'm not using it. Which is, it's accurate. I'm not using it. This is just something that I intend to use once I'm actually creating this dashboard page, um, which I did in my little demo project. I was starting to implement stuff for this dashboard page before I started fresh and trying to build it in Vercel instead of purely local. But yeah, you should be able to remove the underscore though. If it's never read, that's it. Yeah. All right. So now let's just see for this. I'm just commenting out all this. This is stuff I intend to come back to, but at least for the purposes of what I want to test is not necessary. All right, so now we have a working build. Awesome. So now if I go npm dev run, or run dev, oops. I keep on flipping that in my head. Run dev. And now I should have my localhost site. Or do I already have it open over here? If I refresh. Dang. Still the tailwind is not showing up for that. Okay. Um, let's see, what can I do for the tailwind? WSL would have let you click that URL, yeah. Git bash is so old. Oh, I love git bash. I learned git on git bash. I don't know. That's my go-to default for whenever I'm doing stuff. I just love working command line for git. It's just been so friendly to me. Where it's like it'll still be there. Yep. Um, let's see. Oh, wait. I did my Vite build, right? But do I have to do anything for my Vite build to all right. Let's see. So I have my Tailwind config. All right, you have to go take the dog out. But yeah, it was great to meet you too, Alexander. I'm gonna have to stop by your stream at some point. Wait 1 second. And yeah, thank you so much. All right, I'm gonna send a follow your way, and I'm just gonna give you another shout out. So yeah, shout out to Alexander for the raid. So Alexander 6. Oh, it says I have to wait again before giving you another shout out. All right. Well, thank you so much for stopping by. NPX HTTP server dist. What is that command in? So Zool, what is that command intended for? Um, let's see. Do I need a link rel in here actually in the dist? Because I was adding that into where is it? And this index HTML, but it might need to be in the dist one if it's not in here, right? Because this doesn't have. Wait, this is Vite React TS. So what if I change this? I want to see if I change this and I do the build, if it'll carry that over. Straw and higher. Yeah, the dist is my build, which I'm expecting it to have this rel, and then over here though it doesn't actually have that link rel for the CSS, which like I can manually add it in here, right? But I shouldn't have to manually add it in there. I should be able to get it when I do my build. So when I do like npm run build, I should expect it to update this index.html, but let's see, it updated the title in the dist, but it didn't actually add in the link rel. Oh, sorry, is this it down here? No, assets. Yeah, I can't. Let me just see if there's keyword. It's gonna be minimized potentially, so it might not pop up there. But I was trying to see if Tailwind popped up in there. Check the package JSON for live. All right. Look, the last two. That's probably prod build. Wait. All right. Thanks, Zool. Yeah. It hosts your local web server with your dist folder, and then this is my build. Look down at the last two. That's probably the prod build, not a live server. Check package JSON for a live dev server. So if I do, all right. Actually, are these in dev dependencies? Some of these might npm run dev. Yeah, so I was doing npm run dev to try to run the dev one, and then as I'm running the dev one, oh, where is it? Um, yeah, so as I'm running the dev here, we're not getting any of that CSS popping up. Um, So the scripts dev and build are different. Yeah, so dev is just doing the Vite, build is doing the Vite build and like the TypeScript and Vite build. So because wouldn't this Vite be using that build? Is your Vite config oh, wait, where's my Vite config? That might be it. I might need to add that into here. Adding tailwind into Vite config. I'm just going to Google that. Add tailwind to Vite. Let's see, did I do something, miss out some step on here? Install tailwind CSS. Add the to my Vite configuration. Yeah. All right. So I have to go plugins, comma, tailwind CSS. That's yelling at me. Do I have to install something else? Add missing function declaration. It's not oh. Um import tailwind CSS from at is it do I not have that imported? That could be a reason. npm I tailwind CSS slash Vite. I believe it's this. All right. Tailwind CSS slash Vite. All right. There we go. All right. That was yeah. So I did this just the other day, so I'm like, oh, I've got this. I know what I'm doing. And clearly I've been missing a step here, missing a step there that has been coming to bite me. All right, because I didn't start up the server again. So npm run dev. Yeah, I'm just regaining my TypeScript footing right now. This is a little bit better. It's not everything that I was hoping, but it's a little bit better. All right, nice. This is step one. All right. So now, all right, it at least has some of that working. Um, so now if I go npm run build, npm run dev. Yeah, v4. Wait, on the v4 doesn't need that. Oh wait, 1 second. So I import tailwind CSS from Vite. Yep, tailwind CSS in the plugins, and then in my style CSS. Yeah, in my I did the style CSS update in my wherever it is. Actually, is it this top level or is it one level in? CSS. It's not app.css right now. It's shoot. It's not in pages. Oh, index.css, there it is. So, and then I have these, which if I wanted to get rid of this issue, I have to get like a post CSS plugin, which I very well will do, but it is functional with this. Don't run the build. npm build is for checking a complete build. Don't waste time on it for now. Got it. All right. Because I didn't know if I needed to build an initial time for tailwind stuff. Just because, yeah, I'm still getting my feet under me a little bit. It's been a little bit since I've done full-time TS work. So, all right. Let's see. All right. So I have this basic part done. Or at least now it's loading in the tailwind. So now my issue is going to be like with my actual app or my actual pages. So like when I have this background gradient, it's not doing the background gradient. So the general structure of this. So 1 second. Oops, that's not what I meant to pull up on this screen. I was just trying to pull up my stream manager. All right. So I can remove the I can remove the config for Tailwind. So those import lines base components can be interchanged with one line. Wait, if I can remove the config for so removing this config, and I'm not sure if I quite get what you're saying for that. So those, yeah, the import lines base can be interchanged. Oh, so do you mean like if I were to go to my index CSS, are you saying that this can be like comma separated? Let me check. I would assume I have the latest just because I just did npmi for that. I didn't specify a version, so I'd assume I have the later version. But I go, first, let's see, does it recognize it, or do I have to install it globally? Whatever. Yeah, it's 4, v4. Just do add import tailwind CSS. Wait, in the CSS, is that what you're referring to, or are you saying in the in in style CSS, I can just do import remove the first 3 lines. Wait, so do you mean like the keyword import, or do you mean like at tailwind and do like tailwind CSS or something like that? Just at import tailwind CSS. Then in quotes, maybe. These other ones weren't quoted, right? When I was doing this, these were not quoted. So yes, quotes around tailwind CSS. Okay. Got it. Okay, this is looking correct. All right. So if I do that, and if I do, yeah, thanks for helping me out with that. Just because, yeah, this isn't something. Yeah, this is something that's brand new for me, and so if I run dev over here, oh, nice. This is beautiful. Okay. So now we're getting a much nicer formatted thing. This is pretty much where I was at, besides having this yeah, having this spread for the full screen size. But this is, yep. Yeah, so yeah, I do keep on trying to check the docs and stuff. And I'm just trying to figure out. So as far as don't go about changing the tailwind config. Yeah. As far as just remove that file. So I don't need that tailwind config file at all. Or do you mean like remove it from view? Like Just like delete the file. Oh dang, this is not needed at all anymore. Oh dang. Yeah, I'll test that out and just that's removed entirely, and then oh. All right. So now if I go here, if I go to login, I can swap developer hiring. All right, awesome. So right now the spacing of this isn't like super nice or anything, but the general gist is there. All right. And then and let's see. I was doing this from an Express app initially. Um, when I was doing this as like my own little testing and local. And so now I have to give some thought for um how far do I want to get tonight? If I want to try to actually do setting up like a Heroku or Railway and trying to do a deployment of like a basic Express app over there. But yeah, I don't need those base styles, TBH. Yeah, I just didn't mess with them at all. And what I'm going to do is probably just poke around with them later to see which ones I may or may not want. But for now, I'm just going to leave them as is and then come back to it. Um, because yeah, I have like the base styles that came in with like the Vite initial setup. So just look at the theme config on docs and you'll find light and dark mode stuff there. Yeah. All right. Yeah, because I've done a little bit. Yeah. So I've done a little bit of messing around with Tailwind stuff just because I'm right now. I created that local host version of the app, and then I'm trying to port that into somewhere, uh, where it's a little where I can host it easily. Um, and so let's see. But as far as the initial, oh, sorry, I want to go to the pages login. So now what I was trying to look at is just for the buttons on here. Let's see. The background I have is gray, and the gray 90 though, so it should be dark. And then on hover, it should get a little bit lighter. Login probably needs to be with full, yeah, on the outer div. Um, I mean, right now, where is it? Um, let's see. This name equals W full. Actually, wait, this is gonna be janky, right? That's not where it should be. This is just the, that's the nav. I need a, because this is gonna be the little nav bar that I have, and then what it actually brings in is what's underneath. So then these are just going to be in the, going back up to the top level. This has the div start, then we have our nav, and then we have our, yeah. So it is here. You mostly pull pages into shared layouts. Where? Yeah, thanks so much for the help. I appreciate it a lot. Um, what does that mean? You pull pages into shared layouts. So I like my, are you saying like my pages folder here you pull out into somewhere else? Like you'll have like layouts and then just like, is this like the separation of just like just the display and then the ones that have the data? So auth has a layout. So auth has a layout, app has one, landing has another optionally. So I have these pulled out into like separate pages, but you're saying that you're separating out the, is this a separation of layout and functionality, or is this a like have all of the state out of it and just pass in the state, or is this something else? So pages just get slotted in. Component wrapping more. Oh, okay, so you have like a layout and then you pass it in as a child into there. Um, yeah, okay. Um, yeah, it's been the last time I was heavily using React was very shortly after functional components were introduced. So I'm still learning. Yeah, yeah. So I've worked with both the class components and then when functional components were like brand new. Um, and so I'm still learning some of like the nomenclature of like what are like the standard ways of doing things. Or that sounds reasonable enough. Saying, hey, we have our layout. That's just our general like, hey, it's the max width, it's the whatever, and then we are swapping out inside of there as a child element the individual pages. I think this is kind of doing that. It might not be exactly the same, but here we have before we create our root, and so we have our root that this was initially strict mode, and then whoops, did not mean to move that, and then we have our app that's called here, and then that's bringing us into app tsx. And within app tsx, can kind of be thought of as using app tsx as its layout, but in that case you might want to say pulling layout separate from the app tsx, and then just having app tsx be like pulling together this is the layout, and then everything gets slotted into there, right? All right, but inside app then. So and login then has a layout prop and updates inside app dynamically. I'm just trying to take a second to wrap my head around that. All right, so login has a layout prop, so we're passing a layout um to login. Um, that's how do I flag that? All right. Doesn't matter. Just do you for now. Yeah, right. I was just trying to get some understanding on what you were getting, just so yeah, d- don't repeat yourself. So that's yeah. So that's just saying we is that just for a common layout? Like this is a layout that just gets the basic full screen or whatever amount of indenting you want to have in there, and then building off from there. That that makes sense to me. I think. Hmm, I think that's very reasonable. I might not do that today. But I think that's a very reasonable approach, and I'm actually going to take a little note on that. So I have my little Trello board with like a bajillion things that I'm keeping track of that I want to do. So I'm going to, and I've been trying to slowly organize some stuff. So front end, I'm gonna go common layout wrapper for all pages. So I'm gonna add that in as like a note for myself to come back to. Mostly managing it better than most PMs. Yeah. I mean, I'm just yeah, this is a project I've been giving some thought to, and I don't know if you've heard of Triple Byte. This is kind of like the V0 of Triple Byte, like the initial version. So the initial version of Triple Byte was really well loved, where it was like an interviewing platform that helped you skip a first round. But then they try to do VC scale, and when trying to get to VC scale, they did a whole lot of things that aren't like as good. That made people like lose some trust in the platform. Yeah, speaking of V0, hmm have you checked out Vercel's V0? I have not checked it out. I've seen it pop up. Vercel V0. Uh, I know I've seen it pop up on like things. Oh, okay. So this is the asking it to build something for you. Okay. So this is like the Chat GPT clone a screenshot import. Oh, this is really cool. Yeah, I have not. Yeah, I have not used this before, but even just seeing this import from Figma, that is just like, oh, that seems very useful if it's able to like build out the page from Figma. Yeah, vibe coding. Yeah, I've been doing playing around a little bit with vibe coding, but I'm just trying to. So my issue with vibe coding that I've run into up to this point is sometimes I can look at it and tell that the pattern is bad. I was like doing some stuff with Expo, and it was creating all this stuff in like a server.js file, and it's like I guess that's okay for like running off, but like I'd want to have those routes separated out into their own separate files. And it's like if you're just doing the vibe coding, then like yeah, and you can learn how it does something. Yeah. So I've been using it to play around a bit to get some stuff out fast, but then after I have that initial prototype, I like going back and just like tearing apart the code and be like, oh, this better, this better. Let's just move around this. But like for getting like that initial demo. So even like for this initial thing that I'm doing it based off of, this was vibe coding that then I'm re-altering and repurposing a little bit. So I did an initial like little vibe code demo to try to get something up and running in my local version, and now I'm trying to, as I'm transferring that from like a local, can I get this working build into a can I have this hosted and on display build. As I'm doing that transition, I'm trying to make sure that whatever I'm doing, I'm understanding what I'm doing, and that I'm not just taking the vibe code. But yeah, um, but yeah, I'm excited. Because I should have, yeah. When I have an idea, I'm vibe coding a prototype for it. Yeah, and so I vibe coded I vibe coded at least a prototype for like the auth and having a basic thing. But mostly I don't take anything out of it. Yeah, I've been trying to. My favorite way to use like the LLMs is to use it to question myself and to get my understanding. So so I'll like ask it to ask me questions about something, and then I'll use that to try to build up. Like even just for building out the idea for this platform, I feel like I have a very strong concept of it because I had like the very basic idea, and then I was asking the LLM to ask me questions about what would be like ask me questions until it has enough information to create a pitch for VCs. Ask me questions until it has enough information for to create a pitch for like a co-founder or something like that. And so like I like to use it in that way where I'm using it to make myself think instead of replacing my thinking. I don't know. I found that as like a like steroids for learning. Um, uh, but yeah, it's very easy to kind of just like plug and play and replace. Yeah, yeah. I mostly use the research function, then it just starts gathering stuff for me. Yeah, exactly. And then so this is a little thing. I also teach a course at like a local college. And so seeing the chat GPT usage in the college setting just seems like very disheartening to me a little bit. And so I don't know. I'm like, it can be used to be able to prototype stuff fast, but then there's also and there's some students that use it really well and learn a lot from it. And then there's some students that use it to get out of learning. And that's where I run into some trouble and some discrepancies. Yeah, exactly. The job market is harsh because of all this. Yeah. See, that's what, and I think that interviewing itself needs to evolve because, like, the lead code interviews are becoming less and less relevant, especially as we get into this, like, heavily use of, like, vibe coding. But what interviews should focus on more is, like, hey, can you debug this program? Yeah, can you work in an existing code base? Can you debug this program? What is like the code smell kind of like for like one example would be like if you had like an express router and you had just everything in server JS where you just had all of your routes in there and you had like just like comments like this is the user path, this is the whatever path, profiles, this is whatever. If you just have it all in that server JS, that gives like a weird feel in the code. But then having the intuition of, oh, we should break these routes into separate things. Even when they use LLMs, they should still be able to think about solutions themselves. Exactly. Yeah. And they should still be able to see something and go, oh, is this like a rational solution or is this just like something that works but is maybe not maintainable? Like even in this, like right now I'm only targeting like US audience for the most part. And so I can, or at least like English speaking audience. And so I'm okay with having this inline English. Let's say I knew that this was a project that was going to be international. I would want this to be pulling from some like string source that I can have swapped out in like a config for like which source it's pulling from. So it could have like whatever your Spanish, your English, your French, your Portuguese, your hot swap out languages just based off of where the user is from. Yeah, yeah, and I was just saying, but right now I'm really just targeting English speaking because if I'm gonna be like doing interviews with people, I don't feel comfortable interviewing someone in Spanish or French or Portuguese or anything like that, and so I almost want to filter out to only English speaking initially. um, But yeah, I almost have that as a preferred filter. I don't speak the Dutch. No, no, no speak it. But I actually have a lot of my community that comes from my gaming is actually from the Netherlands. So I've picked up on a couple of like random words, but I don't have. I'm not comfortable it purely in Dutch. But yeah, I would say most of my speaking base is from. Oh, from Bel. Yeah, you're from Belgium. Yeah, yeah, I would say most of my community for my because I've been doing a lot of gaming and just starting to branch into some of the coding for content as well, and like for what I'm doing. And so I'd say most of my gaming community is Dutch actually. So yeah, we have some good pals over there. All right. So um let's see. Let me get myself back on track. So I wanted to check out to see if that W max is going to do what I want it to do. Um, no. So which actual thing? All right. This is nav, and it's going to have to be an outer layer from nav. Wait, this is the body itself? The body itself isn't taking up enough space? Is that true? Yeah, the root div is that. Oh, dang. Wait, okay. So this is actually on the root div is the issue. Yeah, probably this. It's probably from the defaults in the style CSS, honestly. Um, So, but I just want to take a quick peek. So if I go to whatever, is it a class root or it's gonna be an ID root, right? No, let's just do. Oh, oops, I'm in searching this page. It's gonna be what root. Oh yeah, it's this max width. Yeah. Let's see. I can do auto Y, sure. I don't want this padding. I'll explicitly add the padding if I want it. Text center is fine. Margin, whatever. All right. Oh, am I gonna have to um, rerun it so it creates the new dist? Um, I mean, I can just get rid of the entire. You know, this is actually wait. Is it even the app CSS that's the issue, or is there anything in index CSS for root? Yeah, there's stuff here. Um, None of this seems like it's going to be causing the issue with the spacing. Um, Now I'm just curious, do I have to reload my server so it does the so it reloads in CSS? No. Or do I have to empty cache, hard reload? Nope. I have an inline component styling too harsh. Uh, Wait. What is the wait, because the hashtag root is for ID root, so that would be like anything that has the CSS selector for ID, right? But then the colon root is going to be something different. What is? Oh, is this any child of root? No. Colon. Wait, what is colon for CSS selectors? That's not child, is it? Um, CSS. I'm just pulling this one side. Selectors colon. Um, or is that not a CSS selector? Yeah, I'm pulling it up over here. Um, colon. Understand the difference between because there's colon and colon colon. This is stuff that I did in my web dev 1 class over a decade ago. But pseudo classes. All right. So the role of okay. So all right. So understanding pseudo classes. Um. Oh wait, one second. This is my little stream manager on the side. Root isn't a pseudo class either. It's oh no. Okay, no. This is oh no, no, no. Yeah, I'm looking for a CSS selector. That's yeah, because this is like the pseudo class within A, but there's not a base that this is off of, so it's not like within A. So what is this colon? Um, because like, yeah, this is a hover. So what is this colon root? is that like a special keyword for a React thing? CSS :root. Let's just try that to see if that. The root is a CSS that matches the root element representing the document. The root represents the HTML element. Okay, so it just goes to the HTML element that everything else is under. Okay, so then that is essentially, that is essentially the HTML, and then we have like our head, body, and have everything else under that. Yeah, so it's at the HTML, which is going to be the root of, like, if you view the HTML, the entire code of it as like a tree, at the very top level of it, we're going to have wherever our index HTML is. And so it's going to be on this HTML tag, which is the root that everything else is nested in. So this is the root of the tree. And so that would apply to everything inside of here. So head, which isn't going to be displayed, besides like little things like in the actual head, and then the body. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Um. Yeah. No, I appreciate it. Yeah, because I like being able to explore it and see. But it's also the place where you can set CSS bars globally. Yeah. So that's like, um. So yeah, because this would allow me to set it for essentially for everything because it's on the HTML node. Um. Yeah. I feel very good that I have like a good foundation for understanding web stuff, but then there's just a couple of like things that are just like, oh, this is something I haven't seen before. So like this root is new to me, but as soon as I understood this is on the HTML tag, everything else flows from that fairly easily. Um, so then this is just giving me some WebKit stuff, rendering. I don't think any of this should matter for the spacing. So then that just brings me back to um, index CSS. Is there anything on here that, like if I'm looking at like body? Oh yeah, it's definitely this. Uh, the min height can be the viewport height. That's fine, but this should not be a pixel number. Uh, margin 0 is fine. We are not having this start off as flex. We can go. I'm okay going flex. Flex just has so much magical properties. So, um, yeah, flex is just a little too much magic for me. I just removed that whole body. What else is in it? Margin 0, place items, center, min height. The min height V8 for 100 for the horizontal view. That's just saying no matter what, the body should take up the full page and shouldn't cut off early. I think I'm okay with that. That the body should take up the full page. This is something that could get a little funky if you have like a little bit of margin or like a little bit of padding somewhere at the high level. Like how before they had on the root, they had like a little bit of or not on this root, on maybe it was on this root. They had a little bit of padding or something. Um, or you could set min h screen to the actual body tags. Or you can set the min h screen on the actual body tags. Hello, Tailwind. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, that also makes sense. Just using min h screen. Um, but yeah, I just want to see does. Oops. All right, that I don't need. I don't know where I just hit that. Okay, tab there. Was it? We picked up some money from that. And this is just a question of do I need to? Okay, so body's the full thing, and then when I go to the next div under where it has W max, it's not actually going the whole way. That's interesting. So the one right above it, the root takes up the full. What's going on here is there's some. Let's make this bigger. All right. So we have our root, then we have our W max. Um, just picking up the content width. Oh, okay. So then if I want this to be the full screen max, let me look that up. Tailwind max width of container, I guess. That's just max width, not max W. Uh, or is it max W number max W, or is it just W full? Yeah, okay, W full. Yeah, I was pulling up the docs on the side, so I can, yeah, because pretty much I have my monitor that I'm doing my work on, and I have this monitor on the side where I have my Twitch stream, what's it called, manager, and then yeah, Flex is easy, by the way. So Flex has a lot of funkiness. Um, and so, oh, you think grids are rough? Okay, so when I initially learned web development, we didn't have we didn't have this Tailwind CSS. We had Bootstrap, and in Bootstrap, everything was like grid styled, and so that seems to, like, that clicks fairly easily for me, the grid styling. Um, and Flex, I'm it may have gotten better, but Flex in general had a lot of funky properties to it. Yeah, you've been doing this for 20 years, yeah. Yeah, I've been, so you've seen, so you've probably seen this a bit more than me. I've been, what, professionally for 9, 10 years. Yeah. So, uh, so I've been making money from coding roughly 9 years. Not full time that whole time, but um, let's see. All right. So this is on. Yeah. So this is, we were saying W full. Um, let's just see where W max is, because I think I was using W max intending it to be W full. All right. So now, okay, beautiful. So now we have this. All right. And now when we go to our login, we get this full screen, and we can swap between the two. These buttons are still a little jank, but yeah. Oh, you're full stack? Nice. Let's fucking go. Yeah. I was full stack. Okay, so my career went from, initially I was mobile with just some contract work. And that was the easiest for me to get into because that was 2015, and everyone wanted mobile and very few people had experience, and I did not have experience with it, but I was able to just like throw my head into Android Studio, and then Xamarin. This is way before React Native. So Xamarin was the cross-platform in C# that like would let you create both iOS and Android. Yeah, oof. Yeah. So so that was like my initial contract work. Then I got to do some robotics stuff, which was super cool. That was all C++, and that was for a prosthetic arm. So I worked with biomed and electrical engineers and mechanical engineers, and we 3D printed electric arms, and then I worked on a module that did signal processing that would read when they flex their muscle, like when they flex their, because this was above the elbow for the cutoff. It's referred to as like transradial, I believe, or transradial I think would mean across the radius, but it was like right at their elbow. And so I made the program that would read in and interpret the signal processing. So we needed to do like some filtering and some um, like mean root square dropout of outliers to try to like get a good idea of, are they trying to send a signal or not, and then the motor controls to like open and close, and then a couple like other basic things like a battery indicator that like reads that. And then I went from that into um, I did some data engineering, ETL pipelines, into some full stack development that was Angular. Yikes! And then from that, I did my consulting at Facebook, where I was full stack doing internal dashboards that for their infrastructure data science team. So pretty much creating so that was like React with high charts on the front end, and then using like Python and like Hack, which is like their superset of PHP on the back end. and using that to pretty much pull data about their data centers on because Facebook doesn't use like a cloud provider like AWS, Google Cloud Platform, Azure. They have their own like data centers, and so they don't have all that nice tooling that comes with AWS and stuff like that. So I was on a team that was creating like the ability to have easy visibility into that, because up to that point you could get that information if you asked a developer to go in to like this to go into start querying that information. That information was collected, but then we were making it visible to people that didn't have that background. Yeah, Amazon is crazy. I never worked for Amazon, but I've heard crazy Amazon culture stories from there. I had a manager um, that was from Amazon, but I have not personally worked in an Amazon culture. um, but yeah, and then from that Facebook contract work, I went to Microsoft, where I've been like the past 4.5 years or so. And at Microsoft, I've been fully back end, creating like scale loading platforms and stuff like that. Um, Scale and load testing. Just their panels are very convoluted to do something simple. Yeah, exactly. We were just trying to be like, okay, what are the key metrics that like these data scientists care about, and then trying to just make easy ways for them to track that. And so I was actually in a call with Mark Zuckerberg. It was like a 30-person call, so it was like that level of intimacy. But like I was I was in a call with him on over Blue Jeans, which is like a communication tool. So I've been one degree of separation from Zuck. Honestly, Zuck is one of my favorites of like the big tech leadership people. He just seems like, this is gonna sound wild, but of the big tech people, like CEOs and stuff, he's one of the ones that feels more grounded and more human. Even though there's all the memes around him being a lizard person. To me, at least, he's one of the ones that seems a little more grounded, a little more human. Not as much larger than life when talking to him in person, or not over video call, not in person. Even despite the lizard guy allegations. All right. So we have our W max. I was looking at the buttons. That's what I was looking at. Uh, in login. So what's going on with these buttons coloring? Background gray 900. I was expecting gray 900 to be a lot darker than it is. What if I even just like, yeah, is this even getting the correct colors? Because I'm just trying to like make them stand out. Um, Background. What if I go? I believe slate is one of them. Check your style CSS. That's a good call. Um, Style CSS, or is that my index? Um, Wait, because that's on my index CSS, is it? Right, my style CSS. A lot of defaults in there I don't need. Oh, it's gonna be, yeah, rip buttons. Yeah, this I'm just gonna get rid of completely. Because I'm trying to do, I don't want this for each one. That body could be fine, but it doesn't matter. You know what? I'm just gonna rip these all out. I'm gonna leave the A hover font weight. Yeah. Media. What's this? I'll leave that as is for now. This I could probably rip out in a minute, but I'm not jumping to do that immediately. Um, okay. If I go back to my pages, login, button, W full, text. Because I'm expecting this to be colored in this and that. Do I have to, this might be a case where I need to empty cache hard refresh, or just navigate away, navigate back to it? No? What's going on with these buttons? Slate 900, so then if I want to see what's actually going on in these styles, button background color, where is it getting this background color from? Prefer color scheme light. What if I had to just turn that? Oh, okay, this is the media one. Never mind. This is the media one I was just looking at. Yeah. Uh, shoot. Because it's inheriting that from. I thought the more local one on class names would take precedence though. Like, sure, I'll are yeah the yellow priest, yellow priest. Yeah, okay, so it's this right here is the issue, but I'm surprised that it's taking this precedence uh over the inline because it's coming from this media prefers color scheme light. Um, so yeah, but this makes no sense to me. I'm very confused why, if this CSS is at this level, why this is taking precedence over in the class name. That's a quirk of Tailwind. So is Tailwind is Tailwind the equivalent of applying it up here where the import Tailwind is, and then all of these get run on top, like as if that import Tailwind is doing all that stuff first, and then everything goes on top of it. Okay, that makes sense. So if Tailwind is setting whatever for that scheme, but then afterwards it's being overridden by this media button. Okay, that I can get behind, and that can make sense in my framework. Yeah, and that's why the layers exist in Tailwind. Okay, got it. That make In that case, I don't want any of this trash. I'm just gonna delete that all and see what happens. All right. Sorry, I misunderstood how that worked in Tailwind. I was assuming that my class names that were directly put on the JSX elements would take precedence over anything else. Now that makes a lot more sense why you're saying you're gonna want to delete all of that. That makes a lot more sense to me now. I'm like, oh no, it's fine to leave it there because if I put anything specific, it'll override it. All right. Oh wait, this. Hey. All right, there we go. So now I should be able to say log in with GitHub. All right, and then this doesn't work because these are pointing to the Express backend that I haven't done yet. And I still have some in app CSS. Um, app CSS. I'm just taking a quick peek. Do any of these make sense for things that I want? Keyframe logo spin. Media reduced motion. Yeah, I don't care for any of that. All right. Yep. Yeah, you did call it so much earlier, Zool. It took me a minute to get there, but I'm happy that I understand why I'm doing it instead of having just listened. So I was being a little bullheaded there, but I think just having that understanding that in this index CSS, it is importing all the Tailwind CSS stylings, and then anything I add afterwards is could override those stylings is like a very important thing to know. And now that I understand that, because that completely the way my brain was working is it's creating this class, and then when I'm calling it in line, this class should override the index CSS, but the class itself is defined in index CSS, and so all the things that come afterwards are going to be overriding over that. um, you can put it in layers like utilities, etc. So that would be like if you broke it out, like before it was broken down to 3 parts, and then you're saying if I want to import a part afterwards or have a particular ordering within them, even if I sort classes the wrong way, it could become weird. Yeah, yeah. I understand that if you sort classes the wrong way, it can be weird. The way my brain was working was this is a inline class, but I guess it's not being treated like an inline class because the inline class should take precedence over a global one. But instead, it's just saying like, yeah, actually, I'm gonna double check that. I'm gonna Google that on the side here. Uh, Tailwind inline class or not taking precedence. Class in Tailwind, class precedence is not respected. Oh, is that just straight up? It just doesn't care about class precedence. All of its names are generated automatically through the component. All right, so I'm just pulling over what I'm looking at over here. Let's make this a little bit bigger. All right, tailwind CSS class precedence is not respected. So I have this following element generated. Tailwind sets precedence by the order in which it adds the classes to CSS and is generated after scanning for utility classes in your code. The order of items in your class will not make a difference. You can, however, make min w0 take precedence by adding the bang. Oh, this is like important. I don't want to go down. Yeah, that bang is going to be like important, and I don't want to do important. Exactly. Yeah. Trust me, I had a good intro to web dev. That's like important is the root of all sin. Never do important. So I'm like, I see the bang and I go, oh, I want to avoid that. I don't want to mark this important because, yikes. Um. All right. So I'm at a point now where this front end is at the point where I want it to be. And then the next step I'd want to do would have to involve back-end hosting. Um, Sometimes you need it because of libraries, sure, but not. Yeah. Um, Shoot. There's so I've done a lot of weird CSS things and having to work with imported libraries that use important. I was working on for the state government, what is it? State of Connecticut, their health insurance exchange website. So if you've heard of like Obamacare, it's like the pretty much it's our public health insurance. And so for our public health insurance, um, this it's there's different systems built and different systems for every state. And so I worked in the state of Connecticut for theirs, and for their system, they were using some CSS that they were getting, like packages of CSS that they were importing and using. And within those packages that they were using, there was importance. And it's like we have to have a more local importance to override for specific things, but then that got anti-patterns. Um, all right. So I have my basic. Exactly, a more local important to try to override the more general important. That was the kind of stuff we had to deal with. But we were working on, and it's like we could try to like, because we were getting minified CSS files. That is just like impossible to, not impossible. Like we could have spent a lot of time on it, but how longer the selector, how more important it is. Exactly. Or just having it more local in the actual code. Yep. Not quite that, just local in the code base. But all right. So I've got my cheat-in from home to my login. This is okay. And then this just fails right now because I had this set up with an Express app. Um, so it's getting a little bit late for me. So I'm probably gonna call it a night pretty soon and find someone else to raid out to. Um, and then the next time I'm probably gonna be trying to mess around with something like Railway Heroku, something like that. Yeah, it's 5 a.m. Yeah, for me, it's not quite as late for me. It's midnight for me. Um, you need to wake up at 8? Yikes. Oh, you need to get some sleep, man. All right, I'm gonna find someone to raid out to, and then yeah, because I don't know how many people are stragglers that are actively watching versus people that are just lurking a bit. But I'll try to find someone of like a similar size and see if I can grow who I'm. Yeah, grow in the software space and just knowing like who all is around. So let's see who's recommended for me in a roughly similar-ish size, doing a similar kind of thing. Web lumper with Tom, developer. Let's see. Is he doing web dev? Um, or it looks like he's doing some game development, or that seems similar to like CS:GO. Um, what's it called when you're just sliding around in CS:GO? Um, Surfing. That's what I'm looking for. Um, that's someone doing C++. Is there anyone that's Yeah, I'm just doing a quick look for who to raid out to. But yeah, if there's any wrecks, let me know. All right, you're raid alone, but you're out. All right. Yeah, if there's anyone you guys would wreck for a raid, I'm looking to see if there's anyone that's doing like a web dev or anything like that. But maybe I might just have to just pick someone. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna have to pick someone. In which case, I'll go back to the guy I was just looking at for a sec. Um. Do 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 do. Um. Let's see. A Dark Legacy, is that a wreck? He's vibing right now. All right, let's go to A Dark Legacy. Not programming. Yeah, I'll still just take the rec for who to go out to. Oh yeah, it'll check them out. All right. Thank you very much for that rec. I was just trying to search around, and right now a lot of the people that I follow aren't on. But have a good day. Yep. See ya. And that raid should be going. All right. To that raid. The raid has been created.